Hello and welcome to this bite-sized learning where we're looking at setting up a Raspberry Pi without using a USB keyboard, a USB mouse and an HDMI connected monitor. It is possible to set up and use your Raspberry Pi without having the keyboard, mouse and monitor attached. You can use your laptop or a workstation to remotely work on the Pi. However, there are a few things that need to be in place to make this work. On initial setup, you must have your Pi connected using a wired connection, as you can't interact with the Pi to set up the Wi-Fi connection. Once you have the Pi configured, you can use the Pi on a pre-configured Wi-Fi network. This means any Pi without Ethernet connection cannot use this process and will need the initial setup to have the keyboard, mouse and monitor, such as the Pi Zero. Firstly is the network you have your laptop and Pi connected to. It must allow the devices to communicate. Some public spaces and collaborative spaces have their network set up to protect users and prevent devices from talking to each other over the local network. They only permit device to internet communication. As you need your laptop and Raspberry Pi to communicate, the network must support this functionality. Secondly, the network you are using must allow multicast traffic between the Raspberry Pi and the laptop. This can be a problem if one device is using Wi-Fi and the other is using a wired connection, as some access points do not pass multicast traffic between the wired and wireless networks. The access point provided by my internet service provider is such a device. An alternative to using a local network is to directly connect the Raspberry Pi to your laptop via an Ethernet cable. If your operating system is configured to support self-assigned network addresses, then your laptop and Raspberry Pi will be able to communicate. The laptop operating system must support zero configuration networking, with support for multicast DNS and DNS service discovery. Support for this is built into macOS and Apple products. Many Linux distributions have this installed by default. If not, the Avahi package adds support. Microsoft use a competing standard, so Windows does not support the required protocols out of the box. You're going to need to add support, and the easiest way to do this is to install Apple iTunes. Finally, you need a boot image on the SD card in the Raspberry Pi that does not require any user interaction before the Pi completes its boot sequence. And that includes the Avahi package pre-installed. The standard noobs image does require you to select an OS to install. So if you're using this, you will need a keyboard, mouse and monitor at initial boot. If you have the IoT Learner Kit from Element 14, they ship a modified noobs image that automatically selects the Raspbian and install, so this card can be used. If you're going to create your own card, I suggest the latest Raspbian image, which also includes the Avahi package pre-installed. If all the steps outlined are in place, when you initially power on your Raspberry Pi and wait a short time to allow it to boot, you will be able to connect to the Raspberry Pi from your laptop or desktop using SSH and specifying the host raspberrypi.local. You can log on using the default user Pi and the default password Raspberry. If you change the host name on your Raspberry Pi, then the Pi will appear on your network with the host name in the local domain. It's highly recommended that you do change the Pi host name, especially if you're going to be using it on the same network as other Raspberry Pis, so you can easily identify your Pi from others on the network. You can use the sudo raspi-config command to change the host name, and the host name option is under the advanced settings. When traveling with your Pi, it can be advantageous to have the Raspberry Pi configured to your phone hotspot or to be able to connect it to your laptop directly via Ethernet cable. This way you'll be able to access the Raspberry Pi if there is no suitable wired connectivity available at the venue. Once you've connected, you can configure the Wi-Fi connection to the Wi-Fi network provided by the venue.